Hello all. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes. Let people join. We are expecting some more people right away. So we'll just wait for a few more minutes and then get started. Good evening, everyone. We'll just wait for 2 more minutes. We'll exactly start at 7:03. And we'll just wait for a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Okay, let's get started, Madhuri.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining the session today. I welcome you all to the Premier Wednesday event sponsored by PremierAgile Consulting. Before going forward, I just want to share my screen and show you something. Hope everybody can see my screen. Welcome everyone. Let me introduce myself. I am Madhuri from PremierAgile Consulting, and I will be here facilitating the event today. I thank you, Nanda sir and Suresh sir, for joining the session tonight. Thank you very much. Let's get started. Starting with our vision. Our vision is transforming individuals and organizations to new age working through education, coaching, and consulting. We are offering Scrum Alliance Certified Scrum Master and Certified Product Owner certifications currently. We are coming up with the advanced level courses as well, which is ACSM and SAFE certifications. Stay tuned to our website, which is www.premieragile.com for the events and schedules right there. We are going to announce this session shortly. I would request my teammate Ishwari to post the link of our website. Thank you, Ishwari. And not only certifications, we are also providing transforming the working environment and coaching the individuals as well. And community development also we are doing. So altogether, these are the services or offerings that we are giving. We are glad to announce that CIO Review India magazine has rated us as top 10 Agile consultant for the year 2021. I thank you all for being a part of our journey so far. Our sessions are designed on learning from global practitioners, which is backed by 50 years research on brain science learning with training from back of the room. We are also offering certain free implementations. I'll come back to this on my next slide. And also value for your money, where we are offering best prices across India. We have so far trained 10,000 plus leaders and 350 plus workshops as on date, and also 30 plus countries, across 30 plus countries, with 5-star rating on Google. As I said, these are the free implementations that we are offering. Premier Wednesday is all about our events. Regularly we conduct, like monthly, once or twice we do such events. All these events are for free, and we invite international speakers, or we discuss on a topic there. And Ask Mentoring is all about mentoring sessions that we do. Just a second. All about the mentoring sessions. Ask Mentoring session is a one-on-one mentoring session. This is also a free session. You can speak to the trainer one-on-one. We'll allot you a half-an-hour slot. Any career guidance, any certifications that you want to know more and explore about Agile and Scrum, any real-time challenges also, you can speak to the trainer one-on-one. This is also a free session. This is a part of our free implementation resources. And Premier Wednesday, we regularly conduct events. Like today, we are here for the same event as a part of Premier Wednesday. And other free resources that we are offering is blogs. Blogs, we have 150 plus blogs on our website, Agile metrics, online courses like overview of SAFe, overview of Kanban, and few courses that we are offering as a part of online free implementation resources, and quizzes and templates also that we are offering. If anybody wants to know more about this, kindly reach out to us. Now I hand over the session to Suresh sir to explain more about today's event and introduce our speaker today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madhuri. Let's move to the next slide, please. Thank you. First of all, a warm welcome to everyone, and a special welcome to one of my mentors, my friends, my co-CSTs, and also we both reside in the same city in Hyderabad. Nanda here. I'm very, very honored, I should say, to have Nanda on this session. You know, when I contacted him a couple of months back and said, hey, Nanda, we do this for the community, and Nanda gladly accepted. You know, a lot of others may not have been gladly accepted in the first place, because this is a community event. This is designed to learn, and this is not, just like a commercial event. More than that, it is more to learn. And Nanda and I share a common passion in terms of how we give back to the community. Nanda Okay, so Nanda runs his own organization, PremierAgile, and I deliver trainings through PremierAgile. Though these are two separate entities, you know, we still do collaborate in several areas. One of the very, very significant ones in the recent past we started was PremierAgile. You know, as a community, myself, Nanda, and Vijay, one more CST, also based out of Hyderabad, and also a very, very good friend of both of us. So we started that community. We have been doing several events, at least once in a month there. Next week, there is one event by PremierAgile. If anyone is interested, you can also join our register through our PremierAgile website, www.spreadagile.com. Okay. So when I asked Nanda, this is a slightly different platform, but the purpose is the same. He gladly accepted, and today he's going to, share some of his experiences and thoughts about an agile leader. You know, what is the role of an agile leader in an organization which is transforming from a traditional way of working to an agile way of working. So that's very, very brief introduction, and I will leave it to Nanda to talk more about his little bit more introduction so that everyone gets to understand. And Madhuri, may I request go to the next, just one last slide before we get to the actual talk. So this is a little ground rules or a working agreement that we would like to have for this next 1.5 hour session. And on the left-hand side, you see 5 terms. I'm sure a lot of you would realize those. What are those?
Scrum values.
Scrum values, indeed. And the Scrum values start with me, start with I, rather than them, right? So in this session, we are also going to stick to these values. We are going to be focused. If you can kindly turn on your videos. If your circumstances permit, please, we are more than glad to welcome you on the video. Otherwise, just kindly go on mute. If you can ask a question anytime, and I will leave it to Nanda to set more context on the questions aspect. And if anyone would like to make notes or ask questions or whatever you would like to do, this session is there till about 9 p.m. India time. Depending on how we are doing, we will do an approximate 1 hour of session followed by some questions. So that's the whole overall plan. With that, I would hand it over to Nanda, and Nanda, I'm going to make you a co-host so that if you want to share something, please go ahead and share. And once again, welcome to our Premier Wednesday event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Suresh. Okay, let me share. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, depending on wherever you're joining from. I'm thinking most of you joining from India. Just by looking at the names, there may be some people joining from other countries, other time zones. Thank you for joining, and thanks, Suresh, to invite me. And I see some known faces. I see maybe somebody who came to my classes earlier. All right, so my introduction for those who don't know me. So let me quickly introduce myself. So as Suresh said, I also live in Hyderabad. So Suresh and I have been known to each other for a long time. So Suresh is a friend, and also we both are in the CST lot. We teach, coach, mentor, consult in different platforms. Right, that's our background. So it's interesting, right? Both two CSTs, one CST coming and giving from the who's in the same country, same city, and giving a talk on the other CST. So recently I read an article last week or so that the top companies collaborate with their competitors, right? So that's interesting phenomena, right? So it's all about collaboration, right? Ultimately, you want to help each other and you want to do good things together, not bad things together. So good things together. So this is definitely a good thing. So free education, free knowledge sharing, so that we can make our ecosystem much better. So that is where the social responsibility comes into picture. So why would anybody teach something for free if you have people around you better? That is also good for you, right? This is the reason why organizations go with the social responsibility. One of the aspects of leadership, again, social responsibility. So my introduction quickly. So let me share my screen. So do you guys see my slides? It says Agile leadership.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So lately I'm giving this introduction in my classes, like all my classes, like I had like I studied 6 years of mechanical engineering, which I never used in entire life. Probably a lot of you can relate that, right? What we study in the college after everybody becomes engineer or doctor, or in India especially. And after I did the same thing, mechanical engineering for 6 years. Can you imagine, which I never used in my entire life? 6 years of wasting time. And that's what I feel now. Then I became a software engineer and software architect. Now it has like this screen is full of my certifications, so which is probably too crowded. So I run PremierAgile, which is like as Suresh said, and I'm a leadership educator. I teach certified Agile leadership classes, and I also am a certified to teach the path to CSP education. So which is CACSM, CSPSM, which I have been teaching for a couple of years now. I'm a certified coach from International Coach Federation, ICF, ACC. So I'm a behavioral coach as well as a leadership coach. So developing a leadership through coaching is a very, very powerful thing. So that's what I do. So other than that, Agile transformations and all that stuff. So this is my background, like more than 25 years of experience with product development hands-on myself. I write code to date, so I'm pretty technically up what's going on and all that stuff. And so that's what my day-to-day life is. Last 5 years, I'm teaching more actively and coaching, mentoring people on various things. About the questions, maybe you want to hold off to the questions and just make a note of or something. And at the end, you can ask me questions, and we'll spend quite a bit of time, because the leadership is more about, there is no one answer for anything, right? It's a more like what would work for you, what would not work for you. So some of the basic concepts I want to touch here. I don't want to make it any complex or complicated, make it more simple, so that we can converse, take one lead, one point, or maybe we can converse more, a little bit more, and understand a little deeper. Okay, that's what I would do. So hold off on your questions until I ask you to. I may pause once in a while and ask questions. Ask you to ask questions. So let's get started. So why agile leadership in the first place? We have different types of leaderships, right? Why we need a different type of leadership? Like if you go and ask in any organization, everybody says, I'm a leader. And even we call them leaders, though they don't have any leadership skills. So what are those leaders? Who are those leaders? Those are like leaders with authority. That is authoritative leadership. Authoritative leadership is somebody who became a CEO of a company. They are leaders, but they're authoritative leaders. Like if you say, take some of the countries where the dictatorial type of leadership, where the dictator is the authoritative leadership, right? Top-down approach, where my way or highway. If you just listen to me, otherwise I'm going to kill you. Kind of leadership, right? That's also called leadership, though it's suitable for today's world or not, right? So now we need to understand one thing is, which is the kind of world we live in, called a VUCA world. The world we live in is called a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. This terminology VUCA is created by US Army School. So after the Cold War, you know what happened after the Cold War? You know Cold War, right? The Cold War was between two supremes, United States and USSR. And after the Cold War, what happened? The USSR was disintegrated and became small countries, lots of small countries. Now US realized that there are lots of smaller entities we need to deal with. And when you have too many moving parts, the world becomes complex, right? We have like, so they came up with this term called, the world we are dealing with is called the VUCA world, the volatile. What does volatile means? Volatile means unstable, like stock market sometimes goes up and down, right? That's very volatile. Like we can't catch it. It's unstable. So in your context, if you think about your organizations, what would be volatile in your context? I know one developer. He used to be a developer. He quit the job and he started his own company. And he was wondering why requirements changes so often when he was a developer. And now he's an entrepreneur, business owner, right? Every morning he wakes up and gets a new idea. And he goes to his team and says, hey, guys, what I said yesterday is wrong. What I'm saying today is right. Right? That's perfectly normal, very genuine for him, right? He's building a new product altogether. Even he doesn't know what he's doing. And his requirements are very volatile. They're not stable. Every day they change. And the uncertain is unpredictable. Like if I'm rolling a dice, do I know what number I'm going to get? Unpredictable. So sometimes your systems and your organization could be very unpredictable. Something, I don't know when my application is going to crash in production. So we're always like waiting for the call from production support. And then maybe your application is very unpredictable, or you don't know the kind of people you have, or maybe your CEO is very unpredictable, or your leaders are maybe unpredictable. And that creates a lot of stress on the teams. Unpredictable is basically uncertain, right? Or uncertain is basically unpredictable. Complex is non-linear. Means you move something, you don't know what is going to move. I'll give you an example. You had a bad time at home. You came to work, you're very upset because something went wrong at home. Maybe you fought with your spouse, or maybe kids made you crazy or whatever. You came to work, and as soon as you enter the work, somebody cracked a joke on you, one of your team members. And you got so irritated and shouted on this person, and everybody on the floor watch you shouting, oh, this guy is very angry today, better not touch him today. And because of that, some important thing need to be fixed was not fixed. And because of that, something crashed in production, somebody lost money. Can you predict all these things? The cause and effect? No. We are talking about a simple example. There could be connections. If you take an organization, there could be 1,000 such connections. And can you predict how complex organizations can get? You cannot really predict, right? Now, complexity is a non-linear effect of if something went and you don't know what's going to happen, right? That is complexity. And the ambiguity. Ambiguity is non-clear. There are lots of forks in the way. Should I go this way? Should I go this way? Customers say, I should be able to submit this page. Should we give a link or should we give a button or should we have a blue color or like a red color or what color? Right? Always there is like a fork in the path. So that kind of thing is ambiguous. So basically the volatility is unstable, uncertain is unpredictable, complexity is non-linear, and ambiguity is not clear. If you assume whatever you do day to day, your organization do day to day, creates this kind of VUCA-ness. Does it? So I want to ask you at this point, you can just put a number in the chat box on a scale of 0 to 10, how VUCA your organization is, your context is, or not necessarily organization, maybe your team, your project. 0 means not VUCA at all. Everything is straightforward. Every day, happy day, go to work. And 10 is like a totally VUCA. That means every day you are stressed out. You are wondering what's going to happen when you go to work. So I got now, yeah, I am getting numbers. Some people are saying 5, 6s, 8s, 9s, 10s. Yeah, world is pretty VUCA, right? That too with the COVID-19. Anybody know what's going to happen tomorrow? No. How many cases tomorrow? We'll know only tomorrow, right? So that is VUCA-ness. And what does this VUCA-ness create? If you are dealing with this kind of VUCA-ness, does it create some emotion in you? You want to put some emotions in the chat box? Is that creating some kind of emotion in day-to-day life or at work? What does it create? Any emotions? Somebody sad, stress, anxiety, somebody smiling. Maybe they are creating VUCA-ness to others. That's why they're happy. Yeah, I know. Frustration, demotivation, and no balance in life. So when is this going to end? It's never going to end as long as you have EMIs, right? So this is like an ongoing thing. It happens all the time, right? Like, so we have to deal with this kind of complexity in the world, VUCA-ness in the world. That is going to create a lot of anxiety, a lot of distress, and like, so every day you have to do that, right? So this is basically the context I'm setting why we need to be agile in the world, in the current world as a person, because we are dealing with the VUCA world. That's why. How is it different from the world 100 years ago? Things were much straightforward. How much innovation was there 100 years ago? Not much, right? Everything is manufacturing, nuts and bolts. Anybody watch this movie, Modern Times by Charlie Chaplin? Like in the factory, he just does this nuts and bolts morning to evening. That is the kind of world. How much innovation you need for that? You don't need anything, right? All you need to do is nuts and bolts morning to evening, and you don't need to think much about it, right? But imagine today, okay, let me get here. I'm still going on the why Agile leadership. Let's say you are playing football. Everybody know football, right? Not American football, soccer, European football, or anything for that matter. Ball is lying in the field. Who should decide who should kick the ball? The player close to the ball or somebody sitting in the box? Player close to the ball need to decide who should kick next, because they have the full context. They know where the goal post is, which angle to kick, how much spin to put, where the defender positions are. Everything is known to only the players in the field, not somebody sitting in the box. And sometimes one player is going to be faking it, other person is going to kick it spontaneously. You can't even predict. And why it is important they make the decisions? Because they are the only one who has the full context of the problem. So If you have to, so current world is like that. You are playing like a football. Your organization, everybody is playing like a football. The people on the field need to make the decisions. Otherwise, they're not going to lose the opportunity. Right? Like, for example, like the guys in the players in the field don't have any authority to make decision. What do? They call the box. Hey, should I kick it or not? Ball is gone. Right? So the world is so fast, so dynamic, so complex. The people playing in the field or the teams in the organization should be making their decisions on the fly. So they need to be empowered and enabled. So for them to make a decision just in time, they need to be empowered and enabled. So you want actually your teams making all the decisions. And what is the job of a leader? Enable them and empower them. Step back. So what kind of leaders we want is not a know-all, tell-all leaders. I may not know anything, but I will get the best out of my team kind of leaders, right? So let's look at some of this. Like this slide, what you're seeing here is basically talking about the command and control type of organization started 1,000 years ago. If you're aware or not, I just want to go a little bit even backwards to maybe 100,000 years. 100,000 years ago, I'm just giving a history lesson here. So you must be, maybe you can recall from your school when you studied history. Paleolithic times is old Stone Age. In the old Stone Age, there was no organization. People were just walking around without any organization. There is no tribes, nothing, right? There is no family culture, there is no family structure. And then by 50,000 years, that means it took 50,000 years for them to figure out they need to stay together. Then they started forming to small tribes. The small tribes are formed mostly based on their function, which is like, okay, hunter-gatherers will go and get the food. And people who actually take care of the kids, and that's like a family type of, a lot of women were forming to smaller groups and agricultural groups. And also they started doing some kind of praying to the god, like the 5 elements, because they started believing, the superstition started 50,000 years ago. So during that time, they started praying to the gods, and because rain can come, natural calamities can come, and a lot of people may die because of that. So they realized that they need to pray to somebody to be safe. And also they realized that if they stay together, they are safer from the animals. So this happened 50,000 years ago, but there was no hierarchy or anything at that point of time, just groups of people going around like tribes. Around 5,000 years ago, somebody figured out that ego, okay. If they, until then, they were not seeing like difference between you and me. And 5,000 years ago, they found that, okay, I'm different than others. What is the difference? If I have more power, more strength, I can make them work for me. So the ego, concept of ego started 5,000 years ago. So then they become like one person become a boss, and they started organizing like a mafia and street gangs. What you see now, like maybe what you see in Afghanistan now, that's exactly the same thing. What the kind of organization used to be there 5,000 years ago. Then I think we're not interested in that too much, because probably no organization will be like that, except for the one example we are seeing, the country, Afghanistan, where like, okay, you listen to me, otherwise I'm going to kill you, kind of organizations. And then around 1,000 years ago, they realized that, okay, we can organize everybody in a top-down approach, which is like a command and control kind of approach, where the top person knows everything, tells everything, and the people on the ground blindly follow it without asking anything. Okay, here, this is what you need to do. So there is a bosses will tell like, you do this, you do this, you do this. And people on the ground shut up and do the work. No questions asked, no accountability at the ground, and no innovation required. So work is stable, known, predictable. Then this kind of hierarchy is working very well. 1,000 years ago, no innovation, right? No innovation 1,000 years ago. So these kind of organizations are started 1,000 years ago. Then fast forward to 100 years ago, where the classical management started, where people started with what do you call industrial revolution. Industrial revolution missions, they started they invented machines like a steam engine, and then they built a lot of machines. And then with the machines, everybody should be working like machines. So they wanted efficiencies. So people are promoted based on the individual meritocracy, and the hierarchies are still there, but people are appraised on their how many hours they are working, and accountability innovation is required, but there is no people factor. And most of the current MNCs fall into this category. Most of the current MNCs fall into this category. They work like robots, machines. So there is no human factor. It's like numbers are important. The quotas are important. Delivery metrics are important, right? So these are the characteristics of these organizations, which started 100 years ago. Even that time, there was no innovation. It's still manufacturing. 100 years ago, still mass production. Then the next, maybe roughly 50 years ago, maybe the green organizations are our family kind of organization, which are human centric. The team-based organizations started to evolve in roughly 50 years ago. So some of the best examples for basically agile organizations are green organizations, are empowered organizations, where the leaders are more like a coaches, mentors, where the teams are supposed to be doing all the work. So the goal for us from traditional leadership to agile leadership is switching from the command and control hierarchical organizations into more of a human-centric organizations, where the people on the ground makes the decisions, whereas the leader's job is to build such kind of teams. Like a Scrum Master, if you take a Scrum Master should be an agile leader, because Scrum Master's job is not to deliver. Scrum Master's job is to build a winning team, just like a cricket coach. Cricket coach doesn't have any delivery responsibility. And what is cricket coach doing? Sitting in the box, watching the team, understanding their weaknesses and strengths, and working on it and helping them improve, right? So our objective is to become more like empowered teams, team-based culture, human-based culture, humane organizations, where the developing the people is extremely important rather than just making them work. And the reason why it doesn't work, like I said, top down doesn't work. For example, I'll give you a couple of examples here. Okay, so this was like this is actually there is a book called Turning the Ship Around. It's a submarine, and the captain, his name is Dave McKay. And McKay was the captain of the submarine, and he was actually trained on a submarine called Santa Fe. No, on some other ship, but he was posted on Santa Fe. And Santa Fe, and the other one is called, I don't remember, it's Atlantis or something, the name of the ship. But he was posted in Santa Fe, and he didn't have much of an idea of that. So because he's a captain, and it used to be more like a top-down approach, and he wanted to give all the command. So he wanted to run a trial. It's a nuclear ship, nuclear submarine, and he wanted to run a drill. So he orders saying that, okay, to go 2/3. 2/3 means basically fire the 2 engines of the 3 engines. That's what he meant to say. And his commanding officer next also orders the same thing, but nothing happens. And he's wondering why nothing happened. He just looked over and asked the person who is supposed to make the change happen, hey, why is nothing happened? And that guy said, Mr. Captain, and this ship doesn't have 3 engines. And he didn't do it. Then he called the next commanding officer and asked him, did you know that? He said, yes. Then why did you order? Because you ordered. So the top-down approach, what happens is the person, so here is what McKay says. He's trained on the wrong ship, and the crew is trained to follow the leader. He is trained on the wrong ship, and the crew is trained to follow the leader. What will happen? Disaster, right? And then he changes the way of his working. Basically, he delegates all work. What he says is the authority should be at the same place where the information is. Authority should be at the same place where the information is. Where is the information in the current world? The people on the ground. So authority to make a decision should be with the team who has the information. I was actually teaching CSM class in to sales guys, right? It's weird, right? Salespeople going through CSM class, but there's a whole batch of salespeople, sales executives came to this class, and they asked me, "Hey, can you explain this concept a little bit?" I said, "Let's say one of your sales executive went to a store to sell a goods, sell some kind of product, and he found that there is an opportunity to sell some other product, but he didn't have all the information to close the deal. So he called in the office, and the office said, you are not entitled to that information, and put in a request and you'll get information in 1 week." And what will happen is the deal going to stay for next 1 week? Because when this guy is really motivated to know the more information, the sales executive should have had the information so that he could have closed the deal, but he didn't. So the authority should be, so now this guy asks for, hey, can you give me information? It has to go through a bunch of hierarchy and finally it will come at some point of time. In the organizations, probably it happens all the time. And the team on the ground wants to do something, but they don't have any power. They need to ask their manager. Manager says, I need to ask my manager. By the time it goes to all the way and come back, maybe it's too late, right? So that is the reason the authority should be with the same people who has the information. In the olden days, people at the top had the information because the work is straightforward and simple. Something like you go to McDonald's. McDonald's, how to make French fries. The owner of McDonald's also knows. There is a process manual written, like 300 pages of process manual written on how to make everything. Whole process is well written, well documented. So the people who are making these French fries and burgers, do they need to innovate anything? Probably not. All they need to do is follow the process. And the top-down approach perfectly works there when you know the work completely. But what if they don't know, they're constantly innovating or something on the ground and there is no process? Process is going to just evolve. And the people on the ground need to understand how to make the decision so that they can really make the decisions just in time to the customer, right? So this is what the agile leadership is about. You have to lead such kind of teams and such kind of organization where the team is going to make all the decisions, and you as a leader, you need to really help them win the match, win the game. That's what the agile leadership is about. That's why the world needs agile leadership today, because world has become complex over years, and that's the reason why we need to have agile leadership, right? So moving on, let's look at the different aspects of agile leadership. I'm going to start with the personal leadership, like you as a person, what kind of things you need to have in your mind. So I would like to ask one question here. If I ask you to type in a word for agility, what would that word be other than agility? If I ask what is agility, what is that one word you want to say? Just put it in the chat box. Speed, adapt, fail fast, quick, flexibility. Yeah. Practical. Okay. Change, fast, open. Okay. Servant. Empirical. Yeah. Okay. So a couple of people said speed is definitely not speed. Okay, I'll give you an analogy. Who is fastest man in the world? The Usain Bolt? The Bolt is, guys, please don't write on the presentation. Okay, so who's the fastest man in the world? Like Usain Bolt is running at his top speed and somebody dropped a big block of hurdle in front of him. And if he just rammed into it, he is not agile. He's only fast. You can be super fast and deliver crap. That is not agile. And if Bolt knows how to jump over it, run around and maintain a reasonable pace, then he is agile. Agility is about ability to adapt. It's not the speed of delivery. It's a speed of adaptability. You can be highly adaptive, but slow on delivery. You're still agile, but you're not fast in delivery. So it's not a speed of delivery. It's a speed of adaptability, right? So one most important word I like out of all this is flexibility. how flexible you are. Agility means you need to be able to adapt. If you need to be able to adapt, you should be flexible. That means you're not fixing everything up front, and you should be able to be flexible. Everything. How flexible are you in life, at work? But organizations are not very flexible. Okay, give me a plan for next 5 years. Don't change it again. That's not flexible. Tell me a deadline now and don't change it again. That's not flexible. Decide everything, write the scope statement and sign off and don't change it again. That's not flexible. Flexible is the keyword. Okay, if you say my architecture is so rigid, you can't change it again. That's not flexible. You should build an architecture that is easy to change. Right? How flexible are you as a person? I'm supposed to take a bus. I went to the bus stop, but bus left. Are you going to say that, oh, my plan says take the bus and you sit down and complain about the bus, or you take a Uber or auto? You're going to be flexible, right? So in life, a lot of times we are flexible, but not everybody all the time. Some people are not always flexible. They are like complain about life is not treating them very well. They complain about COVID. We all complain about COVID, but depending on the flexible person probably say, okay, I live with it. And that actually reduces your stress levels, because if you're saying that, okay, I'll deal with it. What's the problem? What says, oh, when is this going to end? My life is gone. My 2 years, I'm not going out. I didn't watch any movies of my favorite movie star, right? Then you are getting into stress because you're worried about, you're not being flexible to adapt to the new normal. So the flexibility is the key. So everything I talk about now, think in the perspective of how flexible am I? All right. The first one is your personal leadership. The 3 aspects of leadership is personal leadership. How agile leader are you as a person? Then how do you know how to build and lead the teams in an agile way? First of all, what does a team need to be an agile team, right? You need to be aware, and you need to build such team, and you need to sustain such teams. And leading an organization, so is your organization is adaptable. It's all going about flexibility, right? How flexible you are, how flexible your team is, how flexible your organization is. Your customer comes and says, hey, I want this change next week. What would you say? Oh, any change in my organization takes 6 months. Then you are not flexible enough to change the priorities, right? So you're not agile enough. Versus your organization says, yeah, we can easily change. Then you are flexible. Then probably you are adaptable in that to that customer, right? So these are the main 3 things I would like to cover. One is a personal agility, as a team agility, and the organizational agility. So let's talk about the personal agility. The first one is a mindset. What kind of mindset you have? Do you have a flexible mindset? Certain mindsets are suitable for agility. Certain mindsets are not that suitable. Something like a fixed mindset. Fixed mindset, if you say a fixed mindset, like, okay, so my traits cannot be changed. I have certain skill set, I have certain characteristics, my capabilities, and that cannot be changed. Well, that is a fixed mindset. Versus the growth mindset is more about, I can learn anything. For every problem, there is a solution. And there is something called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity says that our brain cells can make connections all the time. Though it is going to reduce based on the age. As you are growing older, the connections will be reduced, right? But it can definitely make new connections. So anybody can do anything if they believe in it, right? If somebody achieved it, maybe we can also achieve it. But that is about your belief. If you feel that I can't really achieve this, that right there you failed, right? So what do you have the right mindset? Or do you have a fixed mindset, or you have a growth mindset, right? So that is one of the main mindset shift. So in the organizations, we probably see a lot of people say this is the only way to do it. Maybe you might have seen a leader or a manager who wants things get done, and they believe that only way to get things done is chasing them out and making them crazy and driving them out. So that's the only way to get things done. Have seen such managers running around and every hour coming and asking for status, right? They think that is the only way to get the things done. And there was a belief, like a lot of organizations were thinking people cannot be given work from home opportunity because we can't trust them. And now see what kind of stress they are going through in COVID situation. Now they don't have any control. So I had one guy, he told me their organization made a SWAT team. Their job is to call every employee morning to evening and check whether they're available or not. Right? So how much money and energy they're wasting in doing such kind of thing. At the same time, the organization is not that people are going to be not that excited, right? When you came to know that nobody trusts you, how do you feel about it? I'm putting so much energy, I'm putting all my efforts here, but my organization doesn't trust me, my manager doesn't trust me. Then so how much motivating is that, right? So let's say as a leader, they did not change their mindset, how the team is going to feel about it, right? So mindset is extremely important. First thing, what is agile mindset? The flexible mindset where, yeah, there could be a problem. Like I always, my son comes to me and so I mentor a lot my kids. So he comes to me and say, oh, something wrong happened at work. Something wrong happened at school. I said, okay, so whatever happened, there will be a solution. I asked him, last 5-6 years, you think about it, all the problems you had, did you ever had a problem that did not have a solution? He thought for a second, no, every problem had a solution. Yeah, that's what is going to happen. You will find a solution. You don't know it today. So be happy to live with it. Same thing. You may be going through this. I don't know. That's okay. I don't know, but still okay. There could be some solution. I don't know how part. I'll find out the how part. Don't get stressed about it, right? You need to just stay calm and try to objectively figure out a way to achieve the solution. Then you will find the solution. If you're getting stressed out, you won't you don't get anywhere. And even there is a solution, you won't see it because you're already stressed, right? Okay, then the next thing would be the self-awareness. How much do you know about yourself? Do you know how you respond? Do you know how much you are emotionally content? Do you know, like, when you get irritated, what emotion you get from who? Like some people get irritated if one person says something, somebody else says the same thing, but they won't get irritated or they won't get angry. They won't get upset. Why? And I had one lady in one of my advanced ESM classes. So she said, if anybody gives her some time, they have to stick to it. Otherwise she gets panic. So somebody said 2 o'clock meeting, they have to be there by 2 o'clock. Even 2:01, she gets panicked. I asked her, where is this coming from? I was actually coaching in my advanced classes. I coach one-on-one directly in the demo class. In the demo itself, I do it. So I coached her. I asked her, where is this coming from? She said, my mom was like that always. My mom always made me be on time. So I also got the same thing. Then how is that helping you? Is it serving you? No, I'm making more enemies in the organization because I go and I get crazy with people and I shout at them if they don't come on time, and then they get upset and I'm making more enemies rather than friends. So what do you want to do about it? I need to change. Like that, how many different things you have, emotions you have in you? Are you aware of it? Probably not. So you need to be aware of it. That how self-reflection or coaching. You can hire a coach who can help you reflect, or you can do a self-reflection by yourself. Maybe every month, sit down in a peaceful place and start reflecting your life. So in some of my classes, advanced classes, I do self-reflection exercise where 3 minutes reflection, they come back and say, oh, I came to know so much about myself in 3 minutes, which I never thought of, because anyway, when I am trying to reflect outside, nobody is going to listen to me anyway. Right here, at least somebody is listening in the class because I gave the exercise, right? So you have to be aware of your beliefs, your values, and they all form over period. So you need to be self-aware and your emotional intelligence. And how well do you learn? That's also another thing. Leadership development programs, there are many leadership development programs. We want to see one of them, like leadership circle, leadership agility. There are actually coaching based leadership development programs like CAL-E, CAL-T, CAL-O are the knowledge side. So you learn knowledge, like, okay, you need to have these kind of strengths, like you should be a creative leader, not a reactive leader. You need to have people development and systems thinking, emotional intelligence, blah, 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 that stuff. Okay, well, I know all these things, but I can't really develop. So one of the strengths may say, you need to let go of your authority, but you are feeling that I can't let go of my authority. I don't know why. Maybe that is your belief system is so strong. Maybe you can't really let go of your authority, right? Then you need a coaching. Coaching is the second part of leadership development. So that is something, knowledge, and then you need to get a coach or somebody to develop those skills. I'll give you an example. I have one guy, he's from Singapore. He wants to become an Iron Man. This Iron Man is not Avengers Iron Man. It's like there is a triathlon. So whoever is aspiring to become an Ironman need to run for full marathon, swim for 13 kilometers, and then bicycle for 85 kilometers, something like that. So they have to do back to back, all three. Then they will get the title of Ironman. And he's aspiring to go there. And I am coaching him. Though I am not fit to even advise him on how to be fit and win this, but it's more about coaching the behavior. So that's what I'm coaching him on. How to participate, how to psychologically be prepared for that, right? That's what coaching is all about. So I do a lot of behavioral coaching, and this is one of them. For example, you take an example of Nadal, Federer, Djokovic, the tennis superstars. They have coaches, and the coaches never played better than the players. Entire history, if you take them, what are they coaching? They're not teaching them how to play tennis. They're observing, give the feedback, and say that, okay, this is my observation and what's going on in your mind, because only you know about what's going on in your mind. All right. So you need, that is about leadership development through coaching, which is extremely powerful compared to even you go to executive MBA where they just give you all the knowledge. That is not a coaching based leadership development, but coaching based leadership development is more powerful because that will help you transform into a better leader. Having a dialogue, how to have a difficult conversation with somebody. Somebody came and told you the bad news, or you need to tell them bad news. How would you communicate without really creating a big panic? So there are techniques to do that, like having a dialogue in a more constructive adult to adult conversation. A lot of times what happens in the organizations, they either behave like a parent or a child. You know, people behave like a child is more like a parent is more like a bossy kind of behavior, saying that, okay, my way, do this, or blame people. A lot of traditional bosses do that. At the same time, you have a child, people behave like children, like ready acceptance or nagging, whining, right? But rather, adult to adult conversation is more like a conversation which is more of understanding the present. They're not talking about the past behaviors of their parents. So the adult behavior comes from their elderly figures like a parents, and the child behaviors come from their childhood. Rather, adult to adult conversation, what you want in the organization. What are the techniques? Like non-violent communication is one of the techniques, one of the frameworks for having a dialogue. Right? So that is something you need to learn, how to deal with somebody. You have a team and they come to you, when somebody come with like a lot of times. I was a manager for one team in US. I lived in US for 12 years before I moved to India. One lady came to me and she just came and she's so angry and she just blabbered. And finally she said, I'm just venting. So she had something with somebody and she came to me. I was a manager. She just vented in front of me, and that's all she wanted is just listen. I just kept quiet. I listened. Okay. Are you okay now? She said, yeah, I'm okay now. Okay. Done. Right. So you have to be first of patient. You need to listen carefully. And so there are active listening techniques. So how do you listen carefully? Right. Those are important. And finally, a leader as a coach, leader as a mentor, and leader as a facilitator. So leader need to learn how to listen, active listening, and also powerful question, which is a competences of like any coach. Like agile coaching, that's what I teach in agile coach track also, and also mentoring skills, and also facilitate in the new world, like in the team culture where the team is the one going to win, and all the leaders should be coaches, mentors, and facilitators. Right. I want to take a pause, even I'm talking a lot. So let me see if there are any questions at this point. You can post a question in the. I'm just wondering what would be the best approach. Maybe you can raise the hand if you want. If it is getting out of control, then we'll see other alternatives. So raise your hand if anybody want to ask any question. So far, whatever we talked about, rather than just me like giving too much of information. No questions. Yeah, we have a couple of questions. Sudhir Kumar. Let's go with Sudhir Kumar first.
Yes, sir. So one small question I had. Yes, we identified this is a challenge right now, and yeah, we know what to do as you've explained us clearly. So that transformation should happen right now. So what would be the right approach or the initial steps to take it? Because the way we look at it, it takes long time to see that transformation. So some initial tips or some insights to start with, so that we can see the transformation.
Okay, so I think the first question we need, where is the transformation? Is the transformation within you or transformation on you?
Around us in the team.
Now, the first thing is transformation within you. First of all, you need to be a leader. Then you transform everybody else around you, right?
Yeah, got it.
Because if you're a leader, you know how to deal with it.
Okay.
So first of all, you need to transform yourself. All the transformation starts with the leaders. Like there is a top-down approach. Transformation is a top-down approach. So if organization need to transform, it has to start from the top leaders. But anyway, top leaders are not here and they're not listening and they don't care. They may not. They are busy with other stuff. But you are here and you are interested. So you want to be a leader, then you transform yourself, which is your control. You don't need to take anybody's permission for that. But once you have transformed into a better leader, then you think about, how do I make an impact around me? So people around me are also transforming. And then you would be able to know how to behave with the team and how to build the team and that kind of stuff. And you don't wait for others, like you, whatever team you have, and you be leader for that team. Protect them, you support them, and you coach them, mentor them. And then maybe somebody else, you doing very well. Maybe your team talks, then maybe other managers are wondering why his team likes him so much. How come his team is delivering so much? Right? Then that is the data you have. And then maybe you can then teach them and or mentor them, other leaders, and if they are not educated yet, right? So that's how you would do it.
Very interesting. Thanks.
Namrata.
Yeah, thank you, Nandaji, for this fantastic thing, and thank you, Suresh, for organizing this. It's a good opportunity for me. I liked it so far, and also with the Sudhir's answer, most of my answers also covered. What I think is, up till now, what we think is agile leader is not the traditional leadership where you are, as a human being and in your personal life, you are different, right? And when you go in a professional life outside the house, you are different. That is not going to work. You have to have personality or your mental psychological abilities such that you are a human being which is everywhere same, right? You have to be a good coach everywhere. It's not just in your professional life. You have to be at home also. As a mother, I have to be like that. Then only I can be there if not the motherly this thing, right? So this is how it goes,
Excellent
drama
point,
is not
Namrata.
going to work here. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent point, Namrata. So this is like a lot of people face one way at home, one way at work. Most likely, people are natural at home and they pretend at work, but that is not their true self. Your true self is who you are. If Namrata say it's Namrata trait, leadership would be Namrata trait. Wherever she is a leader, like anybody who's, regardless at to work, you are a leader, right? You behave the same characteristics, and then only you can be at your best. You cannot be. There are organizations where there is no managers. They're called self-managing organizations. In self-managing organization, people behave the same way at home as well as at work. And organizations are highly productive because zero managers. But great power comes with a great responsibility. Don't think that just because you got a lot of power, you can just do whatever you want. Just because of the radical transparency, people can't really cheat. Anybody try to cheat, the whole world will know that they're cheating. So they can't cheat. So this is the first question comes in my leadership class. Say, hey guys, organizations. Then everybody say, oh, what if they cheat? Everybody would know. Then who wants to cheat when everybody would know? Right? Nobody wants to cheat, right? It's on the board. Everybody knows that, hey, this person cheated. And it is so much transparency. So nobody can cheat. So there are organizations currently, they are like that, where imagine you are yourself at work as well as at home. You don't behave differently. You don't worry about manager. You don't worry about anything. You just go and do your best always. Right? So that is the kind of organizations you may be shooting for. That's a dream organization. But there are that kind of organization exists in the current world. Okay, it could be too much for Indian context, but in Indian context is predominantly service organizations. You know how they run, right? So, but again, that's a totally different ball game altogether. Naveen? Yes, Naveen, you're on mute, Naveen.
Sorry. So I have two questions. So the first question is that how to overcome or improve the leadership qualities when you're an independent contributor. For example, I'm a product owner. So, the product owner works with the team. He doesn't control the team. So in that case, how to improve the leadership here? It doesn't have an hierarchy. There is nobody reporting to him. Like naturally, if that is the case, then later he will be able to exhibit his leadership skills. But if the team is together and they have to work together, they have to listen to each other. In that case, what are the ways to improve?
Yeah, which we'll talk about. So you're talking about how can I be a leader as a product owner? Since the team doesn't have a manager, how do I make my team work like a team? Is that what the question is?
I'm talking from the Scrum team angle. So I'm a product owner. So I have a Scrum team. There is no hierarchy. Even if they are reporting also, they are reporting to someone else. So in that case, how do I exhibit the leadership skills, or how to improve my leadership skills so that I can get the better work from them?
So let's pick one leadership skill. Which one are you talking about? We can talk about maybe one particular one. Do you have any specific leadership?
For example, like every time as a product owner, I don't depend on Scrum owner to solve a problem. So in that case, problem solving is one of the issue that I want to take it up. So as a leader, I should be able to solve the problems which are arising within the team. So in that case, as a leader, as a product owner, so I'm by myself being a leader, how to emphasize that I have a leadership skill and how I'm going to use it so that I'm solving the problem.
First of all, you won't tell the people that you are a leader, because that is something people will tell you about that you are a leader.
Yes.
Okay. So, and do you call Mahatma Gandhi a leader?
Yes.
Why would you call him?
His work has proven it.
So he served the nation.
Yes, sir.
And the nation achieved something,
yes,
some independence and some freedom. And because of his character and how he helped the team, helped the organization, helped the nation, we consider Mahatma Gandhi as a leader. He's a servant leader, right?
Yes.
So how would team consider you as a leader? What do they need from you?
So
That means you are, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, so as a product owner, you are giving them the right lead, right direction.
Okay.
And you're helping them do their best job.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And however you do that,
yes.
Right? You're always available for them.
Yes.
You empathize with them. If somebody comes and say, oh, we had to run through lots of struggles and we're not able to complete the sprint as we planned, and you try to understand what is the underlying problem they're facing and empathize with them and understand their problem and see, maybe offer some help, maybe to resolve that problem. Right? So these are some of the things you are basically, as you are helping them, once they feel that you are helping them, they will look up to you.
Okay.
Right? Versus if you're always worried about only delivery, then they feel that, okay, this guy is pushing us. They never understand our problems. Right? Yeah.
So that's a trade-off that we need to take.
It's not a trade-off, right? See, highly productive teams are autonomous teams. If you're really supporting supporting somebody else is more like a selflessness, servant leadership.
Okay.
Why do we go and donate something to somebody? Because I mean, we're not going to get anything back immediately, but there's the satisfaction, right? That it kicks in like oxytocin. Oxytocin is a happy hormone. Like when you do charity, when you do help somebody, you get a pleasure because of a hormone called oxytocin, right? So that is just a human thing, human evolution. People who came from egocentric background turn into more of ethnocentric, or that means philanthropic, helping others kind of mindset is one of the mindsets for agile leaders. Then automatically team is going to look up to this person as a leader.
Okay.
Right? So, but a lot of times these our blocker in our mind, if I go and help too much, maybe they'll look at me as like they don't give me value. Lot of managers think that, okay, like if you go to the previous generations, if you look at, dads are always serious, right? They think that by being serious, they maintain their stature. A lot of managers are like that, right? They don't smile, they don't be friendly, and they still like, I'm the boss. I sit in the different room and I eat on different table. I don't sit with the team and eat. This because they want to maintain the status. But the team will never look up to this person as a leader, because this person is not seen as one of them. They're always seen as an outsider. Right? I'm just giving like a small tidbits here and there, like maybe you can probably connect these dots and try some of these things, be with them and show that you are there for them. And they definitely can see you as a leader.
Sure.
Okay. All right, moving on. Now, team agility. Let's talk about team agility. The first one is building trust. How do you, so if you talk about, for example, a football team or a cricket team, they're playing in the field. What is one thing they need to have? They need to trust each other. If they don't trust each other, they can't win, right? How much your teams trust each other? I mean, team members among themselves. Say, oh, somebody does something wrong, and how much the team says that we know this guy never does wrong things. Maybe there got to be a good reason why this person did it. Versus they try to blame this person. Right? Like you think about your teams, how much do they trust each other? That means they completely rely on each other. That is, you need to build the trust, right? If they have to play one team, like especially developers and testers. If you take developers and testers, do they fight all the time, or do they trust each other? Tester comes and says, hey, it's going to take 2 weeks to test it, or 1 week to test it, or whatever. Do developers trust them, or do they say that why does it take this much time? Are you inefficient? Versus, yeah, we trust you because you are expert in that area. Let's say we have a surgical team. We have like chief surgeon, anesthesiologist, and brain surgeon, orthopedic surgeon. They're all, and a lot of nurses and assistants. They're all doing a surgery. They have to trust each other, right? A main doctor cannot say the anesthesiologist gives an idea. They say, no, I have everything. You have to just follow. I trust you because you are expert in that, right? So building the trust is extremely important as a leader, as a scrum master also. So a lot of these things are applicable to even scrum masters, not only for the leaders. Anybody could be a leader, right? You don't need a designation to be a leader. Accountability. Do you have a team accountability? A team accountability means anybody can question anybody, and everybody is answerable to everybody. I have seen a lot of teams. Everybody says that, yeah, 9 o'clock daily scrum, we'll come to daily scrum on time, but they won't come, and nobody will ask them. Then they don't have a mutual accountability. Why people don't have a team accountability? Because a lot of times lead set up as a individual accountability. I'll ask you a question. Let's say your team is playing basketball. And you as a leader want to get the best out of them and announces a reward. You announce the reward saying that whoever makes the shot will get $500. Whoever makes the shot will get $500. What will happen? Your intention is to get the best out of everyone. So you announce the individual rewards. Whoever makes the basket get $500. Then what will happen? Yeah, games goes for a toss. Nobody want to pass. Everybody want to shoot. Now what happened? This is exactly what happens in the organizations, right? Individual accountability, but there is no team accountability. Versus manager leader comes and says, I don't care who did what. If the team won, you get the credit. Team lost, you don't get the credit. Then they have to work with each other. But this requires a lot of things to change, like performance appraisal at the team level, not at the individual level, right? So you need to have a team accountability, not individual accountability. So most of the organizations evaluate only based on individual accountability. So everybody want to be a hero. At the top, their team members not be, so they pull their team members down, want to go up. So they will never behave like a team. Imagine the cricket is happening and we announce a reward saying that whoever makes the century will get the bonus regardless of team won or not. The batsman is not moving from the crease, right? Because making a century is more important than team winning, right? Organizations behave like that. Teams behave like that. This is the reason why they fight among themselves and they won't really help each other. They won't collaborate with each other. Engagement. There is a research by Gallup says that in organization, there are only 35% employees are engaged. So 65% of the employees are not engaged. They go to work physically, but they just do for the sake of doing it. But other than they're so excited. Why are they not engaged? Maybe they don't like the work. Maybe nobody care about their life. Nobody checked with them whether their improvements or how they are doing and how somebody can help them. So leader's job is to create that engagement in the teams. There are techniques to do that. Maybe you may want Gallup survey. So there is an assessment you can probably try. Developing people. Are you professionally and personally people? As a leader, need to develop the teams professionally and personally. Professional development is about their technological advancement, their careers. And the personal development is more about behavioral development. Like maybe somebody is very arrogant. They're not a team player. And you want to really help them become a team player. And that requires you to have some skills, how to coach and mentor the team members to be team players. The social awareness. If somebody comes to your room and having a conversation, their face is in red. Do you know that they are angry? Are they angry or they have some emotion in their face? I was coaching one lady when we were doing Zoom call, and when she came on to Zoom, as soon as she came to the call, I knew that she is crying. Though she's not crying, I know that she's crying internally just by looking at her face. That is social awareness. Social awareness is You just look at the person and why that person is behaving certain way at a certain point of time. What does it mean? Somebody is rolling their eyes. Do you know what it means? You said something and they're rolling their eyes. Maybe it is in daily scrum. You have like a daily scrum going on for 45 minutes. Maybe testers are rolling their eyes. Why are we wasting our time here? Right? If you're a scrum master, you're noticing it. Are you noticing language? Are you noticing the expression in their face? So that is what is social awareness. Social awareness is reading the room, how people, my emotions are, right? And also you should be aware, if you said something, some people may get offensive or defensive or get emotional, and you need to know who gets emotional for what. That is social awareness, right? And servant leadership. Servant leadership is a word coined by Robert Greenleaf. Basically talks about 10 characters of a servant leader. Like empathizing is basically putting yourself in their shoes. And putting yourself in their shoes and thinking from their point of view. A lot of times Scrum Masters comes to me and say, hey, Nanda, my team doesn't listen to me. So I ask them, why should they listen to you? Just because you're a Scrum Master, they should listen to you? No, right? Do they feel that you are there for them? Do they feel that you are trustworthy? Do they feel that you are really helping them? That's your job to establish that trust, right? So you need to empathize. Leader has to put the front and they have to lead from it. So more like putting your team in, right? It requires selflessness. If the leader is always thinking, how am I going to get the better performance appraisal versus how can I make my rock star team? Right? The is about team should be great team. Right? And there are other characteristics like abstract thinking, stewardship, community building, belongingness. Teams start feeling that this is my team, this is my organization, that belongingness. This is servant leadership, right? So leaders have to build all these things in a team agility, one team or multiple teams. And this is what the team level agility is, right? Okay, I would like to pause again and ask for questions. First of all, before you start building such agile teams, a lot of times people come to me, okay, I will do Cal T first. Cal T is a Cal for teams, certified agile leader for teams. I say first do Cal E because you need to know how to be a leader first. Then you can build agile teams. So that's what I say. So somebody has a comment here. Social awareness become harder when the whole team is remote. Yeah, that is the reason why I ask turn on the videos, right? So your question is social awareness is harder if the people are remote. Like I don't see anybody, then it's hard for me to even see what the emotions they are going through. It's then just talking to the blank screens, right? That's the reason it's very important. And one of the agile principles, if you remember in Agile Manifesto, face-to-face conversation is very, very important. There is a reason, right? In the real physical world, we can say, if somebody is sitting right next to me, I turn and say, hey, what is the answer for this? If somebody is sitting even 3 aisles away, I don't want to walk there. I just send an email. And at lunchtime, hey, did you get my email? Or did you send an email? I didn't even check, right? So in the physical context, there is a research that says 6 feet and beyond, people don't collaborate. Even people sitting face-to-face communicate better than people sitting back-to-back in the same location. So if it's easy to get to each other, if I can just click button and get the other person up on the screen and talk like that, I'm more motivated to collaborate. But if I need to get to somebody, they're not even available, and even I ping them, they don't respond. And even they responded, they say, why are you calling me so many times? Okay, next time onwards, I'll think twice before I ping you, right? So ease of getting to the other person, even you are talking to them. A lot of times in my classes, I look at the person and read somebody's want to ask a question. Even before they ask a question, I call out, hey, you want to ask a question? Because I know I'm watching. Just by expression, I can tell, right? So that is the reason why it is important to even turn on the video. Lately, I've seen a lot of Scrum Masters are pushing for that, asking everybody to turn on the videos. Recently, I was coaching one organization. They said they haven't seen their team members in last 1 year, even like a virtual. And there are new hires and they don't know how their new hires look like. So that will be like a really bizarre, like there is no sense of we are in the same organization. They don't even know their colleagues, or maybe new people came on board. I think it's a good idea to show at least faces more often, if not every time. It's okay, we don't want to know what you're eating. That's not, you don't have to turn on all the time. But at least sometimes turn on the videos and see each other. That could be, improves the connect, right? When you have like eye contact, you see expression, that improves. Yes, Namrata?
Yeah, I don't know if you have plans to share about the Cal E, because this is something new to me. At the end of the seminar, you might want to.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
more
want to
about
do a
it.
lot of. Yeah, I don't want to do a lot of class promotion here, but you can.
We would like, but just bit of 2 minutes, if you can share something like how it is useful and what is it, would be better. Thank you.
Actually, the content what I'm talking here is coming from there, a little bit of each class, so that you understand the personal. Cal E is about personal agility, Cal T is about team agility, the current slide, and the Cal O is about organizational agility. And more information is available on my website, poweragile.com, and which I pretty much teach every month, those 3 classes. So each class is like a 1-day class. So I think all the information you can get it on the website. So rather than getting into that now. Right? Okay, now the organizational agility. Now we talked about how to build a high performing team and what matters, like accountability, engagement, and autonomy, servant leadership, and all that stuff. Now, organizational wise culture. What is culture? Culture is how we get things done here. How does your organization and your leaders get things done in your organization? By force? By putting controls around it? By watching you like a hawk? I know one guy, he doesn't go home. I asked him, why don't you go home even like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the night? Why don't you go home? He said, if I go home, nobody's going to work here. Okay. Is that how you want to be your entire life? You will be just watching people like a hawk? Or rather you want to go sleep peacefully in the morning, you come back and your team says, hey, we completed everything. What kind of leader you want to be, right? The culture of the organization, there are different types of culture. There's different types of hierarchical cultures, right? The olden days, it was a hierarchical culture when I was talking about 1,000 years ago thing. And then it become like a more of a transactional culture, like numbers and deliver, which we live in currently. Majority of the organizations, project managers, line managers just push for delivery. Numbers, how many tickets delivered, how many, stories delivered, what is the velocity. People are so fond of all these things and less fond of value itself, right? So the culture, what kind of culture you have? You have a team culture, you have more of a hierarchical culture. Or do you have a innovative culture? Something called adhocracy. So there is a different frameworks for assessing the cultural, where your organization stands here and where they want to go. So culture is extremely important because culture is the one which is going to drive the behaviors of the people. And this culture is basically have structures is one thing, hierarchical structure, how your organization is organized. Is it a top-down hierarchical or high? And it's very, very common now, right? Like even today, it's still common after 1,000 years. Like you have a team lead, manager, senior manager, director, senior director, vice president, senior vice president, executive vice president, then C, then C level. So much hierarchy, right? And there is a research that says organizations pay 1/3 of their expenses for the middle management who don't do any work. They only make others work. But 1/3 of the organization's expense is going to paying this middle management. And when we are talking about the self-organization, you want people on the ground more and more self-organizing. Then immediately next question comes, what happens to managers? Now managers has to show what value they can bring. Either they should be individual contributors, technical people, or they should be leaders. If they don't have either, they're at risk because they don't add any value, right? This is the reason probably you have noticed in India, a lot of organizations are firing people in the middle who are not adding any value because they're not technically strong. They can't sit down and code like a fresher coming from school or college, or they don't have any leadership skills. In India, at least organizations don't invest in any leadership. How many organizations are really sending people to leadership development programs? Yeah, most of them are becoming leaders because of their number of years of experience in something else, which is technology, not in leadership, right? So that's a problem in India. If you go to Western world, people managers don't need to be technical. They are actually given a higher level of position, or it's not even considered as a higher position. A lot of organizations in US, I worked in US, right? As the developers retire at 65 as developers, and they make more than their managers. So if you love what you do and you get paid for that, what's the problem? There is no problem, right? But in India, there is a different dynamic. Somebody told me, hey, I need to become a manager, otherwise I won't even get married. So that is one of the question tick mark. Maybe girls are asking, I will marry only managers. I won't marry somebody who is not a manager. I don't know. It could be social thing, right? It's more social pressure. So maybe you noticed by now, organization culture heavily depends on the country's culture. So Indian Eastern countries are all hierarchical. Like if you go, I taught CSM class in South Korea, Seoul once. And it's all like, they're all managers are considered to be gods. They consider themselves as gods first, and everybody has to follow, right? So in the Eastern world, if you go further east, they have like, they can't even say challenge anybody who just joined 1 year before. Like even 1 day before somebody joined the work, they're considered to be senior. And you can't question them. And they don't question they don't ask any question to the teacher. So they were not asking any questions to me. I was actually pushing them. Come on, ask questions. Then it had a lot of struggle for me to get questions out of them, because they have a culture. They don't ask questions to trainers, teachers, just listen, right? So again, that's a culture. I'm pretty sure in the organization, it happens the same thing. Right? And also we do the same thing, right? Like maybe right from the young age, we are groomed like that. Hey, don't say no to parents. Don't say no to elder siblings. Don't say no to teachers. Don't say no to bosses. Interestingly, one lady came to my class. She asked, can I ask a question back to the interviewer who's interviewing me? I said, why not? Like she went to an interview and they asked a question. And she gave a lot of different answers, but her feeling is the person who's interviewing was not convinced with her answer. Then I asked her, did you ask the other person what is the right answer, or what is the answer that person is expecting? And she said, can I ask such questions? Why not? Why not? The interview is like a conversation between two professionals. There's nothing like who's right, who's wrong. If there is a fit, there's a hire. If there is no match, no hire. It's not necessarily the other person is right and we are wrong, right? I actually failed an interview many times because the guy who's asking has no idea what he's asking, right? So don't get into the trap that the other person is asking and they're in upper position. So we have to just say yes to everything. Not necessarily. You can ask validation questions sometimes. The other person. Namrata?
Yeah, I just wanted to share about the principle. Somebody was sharing about the principle, teachers and bosses here. So in my son is going to the elementary school, and my daughter goes to the high school. But the principals there, they are like, they come outside and welcome everybody in the morning. Each and every student in the morning, they will clean the floor first, in the lunch time and everywhere they will do it. But that doesn't mean they are not leader. They're considered the best leaders, and
They are servant leaders.
it's a different feeling. Leadership here is totally different in US. basically. And everywhere you can see the same with the parents, you know, parents actually serve the children. Children don't, like, you know, whatever we ask and they do. It doesn't work here like that. It's totally different.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a different mindset. It's a bit different brought up. But again, once you understand what is what and where it is applicable, if you have the thought clarity, you're fine. It's nothing like this is good, this is bad. Like, again, there is no absolute good and bad, right? What we think good in India is not necessarily good in US and vice versa. But you can't say what everything that happens in US is right and everything that happens in India is wrong, or vice versa. So we can't say that, right? Again, what I think is right, you may say it's wrong because it's just a subjective. There is nothing, there is no absolute truth. There is no absolute right or wrong. It's all relative, right? A lot of people get into this trap that, oh, what I'm saying is the right thing. No, not necessarily. That's only your opinion. And you could be wrong, right? Yeah. All right. So I'm getting into a little bit of psychology and philosophy classes now. So, but that is what the behavioral coaching is, you know. So when I'm coaching somebody, this is the direction I go a lot of times. Governance policies, depending on what kind of governance you have in your organization, and people behavioral change. Something like a bell curve appraisals or anti-agile practice. I'm pretty sure still there's many organizations do bell curve appraisals. Why bell curve appraisal is a bad thing? Because in bell curve appraisal, there should be only one hero. And because everybody wants to be hero, they will make everybody villain. So that is the reason 1 month before the performance appraisal period, everybody's behavior start changing because they need to make sure that last 1 month they are appeasing their managers so that they can cut other team members down. And that creates actually a conflict among the team members rather than team is together, right? So bell curve appraisal is a bad practice. Like that, everything you do in your organization, all kinds of measures your organization you do could cause changes the behavior. People are not bad. In my opinion, people are not inherently bad. Their behaviors are affected by what they are measured on. So a lot of times you may say, like a last class, somebody was saying, I have one developer who is like like he feels he's a hero and he doesn't listen to anybody. He always make other people look bad and all that stuff. Then my immediate question is, so in your organization, do they worship heroes? They said, yeah, this guy is like highly regarded and everybody feels that this guy, whole organization is dependent on this person. And that is the reason why he's behaving like that. You remove that. Once you remove that, that person stops behaving like that, right? Then create more heroes. When you created more heroes, there is no one hero. So nobody get that niche, right? So there are techniques to do that, right? So the point here is, depending on your governance policies, your HR policies, your hiring, firing, retention policies, everything. Like every organization has to have nowadays or all the time, 3 months notice period or 2 months notice period, right? And what is the people going to do? They're going to now have many options in hand and they are going to pick only one. And everybody else is going to blame the employees saying that, oh, these guys take an offer, but they won't join. Now, why are they doing that? Because many organizations have 2 months notice period. So they have to play safe too, right? So there will be automatically people will adjust to the situation and they behave differently. So rather than, as a leader, rather than thinking it's a team problem, you need to see the underlying behavior, why they're behaving like that. What could be the reason in the organization that is causing them to behave like that? Last one is the measures. As I said, what do you measure? Right? If you're measuring like output or outcome, if you're always okay, you are going and saying, hey guys, we want more velocity. Then what is team going to do? They're going to increase the estimates. Then it looks as if velocity is increasing, but actually nothing throughput is increasing. And they deliver crap and see velocity is increasing. Like I asked one lady, I said, you should always deliver the most valuable items. She said, no, what I care about is more tickets, not more value. So why? Because my performance appraisal is based on number of tickets, not in value. I look for all the low hanging fruit and then deliver 10 tickets. Hey, see, I deliver 10 tickets, give me a bonus. Right? What we want is a value, not the volume. But if they're measured on value, the volume, that's what they will do. Right? Instead of depending on the star performance, the priority to be given to the committed performance. No, like we should encourage everybody, right? It's nothing like there is no one star, like everybody is a leader. We want to encourage. For example, if you take a cricket team, do you want only some people to be stars and others not? You want everybody to be a star, all right? That's how we need to build a team. Rather than saying that recently I was coaching an organization, they said they have 250 employee organization, they have 12 superstars. These 12 superstars are burned out and they work like 12 hours, 14 hours. At the same time, they found that 50 of their employees don't have anything to do. Imagine what will happen if one of the superstars is hit by a bus tomorrow. Do you want to just depend on the superstars and your fate of your organization depends on one or two superstars versus anybody can step up. Your first down batsman is duck out. Maybe top 3 downs or duck out. You want your middle order to step up and bat, right? You can't just rely on the first top 3 downs and okay, we can win the matches just because of these 3 people. No, never happens like that, right? Yeah. So these are some of the things you want to keep in mind. Organization cultural transformation is important, and the restructuring the organization. That is why a lot of transformations happens. Then organizations are restructured into team-based structures like Scrum teams or Agile Kanban teams or whatever. Then HR policies and all other governance policies need to change. And measures, what are you really measuring? Metrics are very tricky. A lot of times you go and ask people, why are you measuring this? I have no idea. My manager asked and I'm measuring. Versus, think about it. Don't measure anything. Measure what do you want to improve. And whatever you want to improve, measure that. Right? If that is not the right measure to see whether that is improving or not, change the metric. Do a different metric that's going to improve that. First of all, be clear on what you want to improve, what you want to measure, right? Rather than just measuring it. And a lot of people ask, okay, what are all the metrics in Agile we need to measure? Why don't measure anything? Why do you need to measure anything? Oh, we want to know something. Okay, tell me what you need to know. Then start from there. Then work backwards and come up with a handful of very important metrics and only measure those things. But remember, depending on what you are measuring, the people behavior is going to change. So that is very, very important thing to understand. Okay, I think that is pretty much I covered. Probably I took more than an hour, but still we have till 9 o'clock. I just went on. The last thing is, okay, so Cal E, Cal T, Cal 3 in context. I teach total 6 courses: Scrum Master track, CSM, Advanced CSM, CSPSM. That's Agile coaching track. I teach those 3 classes, and also these leadership classes I teach. So Cal E, as I said, is about personal leadership. Cal T is how to lead teams, Cal T, and Cal O is about how to set up an organization for agility, organization transformations, and such kind of things. If you want full details, you have it on my website, www.poweragile.com. So you may want to browse and get there. Yeah, you can easily find me. Your Google Nanda Kalpalli, you'll get all kinds of contacts. So yeah, you can easily reach me if you wanted to, right? Of any further questions. Yeah, but what's important in the current world is we have been training thousands of Scrum Masters, but they're not getting enough support from the leaders. So without having the education for leaders, organizations are not going to change. The organizations are going to struggle because most of the problems coming up in CSM classes, they're all self-inflicted. Our problems are coming from the same organization. They're not coming from outside. It is something like half of the organization is want to be agile going forward. Half of the organization is working against its own organization. Then what is the net effect? 0. That is the reason why most of the Scrum teams or Agile teams are struggling, because there is no leadership support. So the next wave of education should be for leaders. starting from first level managers up to C-level. Everybody need to know what is Agile leadership all about and how to really be an Agile leader and support Scrum teams or Agile teams, not necessarily Scrum, anything, any Agile team, right? All right, with that, I would say I conclude my talk and I take few questions if anybody has a question. And thank you for staying in and listening. So let's go ahead and take some questions. Anybody want to ask any questions?
Hello, sir. My name is Chan. So like we've been learning the agile and the mindset and what are the leadership qualities and trying to develop those. So like from what is the source of this knowledge? Like where is this coming? And like these concepts are all, I believe maybe there people may be successful in past. So is the source their success stories or the problems, new problems which are coming with the time, or like how we seeing this and what will be the future?
See, leadership is forever, right? It is a character. For example, imagine you are a leader. You are a leader wherever you go, right? Whether you are dealing with a personal problem or you're dealing with a organization problem, or you go to the current organization, next organization, that is your character. Leadership is like a character, right? And you will be a better being. You're a better human being. This is what I say even for my Scrum Masters. They say, hey, what if I cannot use this information? I cannot use Scrum at work. My organization doesn't allow me. Then I said, you will be a better being. What else do you want in life? You just want to be a better being, right? That's a great thing, great achievement, right? So for example, you learned some of these skills, like take one very simple one, listening. I have many people giving me feedback. One guy, my advanced CSM, he came to advanced CSM. I teach about listening in advanced CSM as well as in CalE, because it's more of a coaching leadership thing, right? So he said, they all started listening better. So one of them said that I was listening more carefully to my family. He used to work for like 13 hours a day at work, and family wants his more time at home. And as he's listening more and more to the family, then he finally realized that it's extremely important for him to spend more time with the family. He cut down from 13 to 11. 2 hours now he's spending more with family. Family is much more happy and he is more happy, right? So that is a big change in life. And just because something he learned, he implemented it. And he sees the value of it, right? And are you going to start implementing everything tomorrow? Or maybe after taking a class? Maybe not. Again, whether you want to implement or not, it is you. We can pull the horse to the pond, but we cannot make her drink unless she wants to drink. Same thing, right? It's you. You can go to a class, you can learn lots of things, and if you don't implement, nothing is going to happen. At the same time, if you have a passion, you will find a resource where to learn it also. You will not be impeded by, oh, I don't know where to go. You will find out. But all you need is the desire. Once you have a desire, Google is there. You can find out information. There is not less information. There's more information, right? And definitely, if you really want to, these leadership courses, what I was talking about, CalE, CalT, CalO, is a starting point to give you enough information so that you can think next what to do. I have seen somebody who attended my all 3 classes. He said he applied for a Scrum Master class. He got a pod leader, tribe lead position, which is a portfolio level position. Just by using the right terminology, the C-level people are liking him because he's using the right terminology, what leaders understand, right? So even understand what to talk, what words to use. That's also will connect you better with your leaders. So yeah, there's tons of books, tons of material. Only thing is you need to, what trainers can do like me and Suresh is to connect the dots for you. But you can go and probably you get like 100 books to read. I don't know where to start, right? Whereas the trainers like us connect the dots. Hey, this is the starting point, give you enough pointers. Then you pursue the pointers. Then After practicing some, you say, okay, what's next for me? I'm hungry to learn more things. Then go and meet another trainer or learn something more. And again, practice for another year or so, right? Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. Again, one thing I want to say, I always put the ball back in your court. You should take the accountability for your learning. If anybody comes to me and say that, oh, you tell me everything, I say, what did you do from your part? First, you do your part. And when you're stuck, you ask somebody, get a mentor. Mentoring is very important. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? I think we have 15 minutes to close. If nobody has questions, probably I'll hand it over to Suresh. Okay. Looks like everybody's pondering, thinking, which is a good thing. My whole discussion, even I have a zero knowledge, I gave a zero knowledge to you, but I made you think for one thing. I'm successful because thinking, asking the right question is more important rather than giving the answer. All right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. And I'm handing off to Suresh for closure.
Thank you, Nanda. I'll let Madhuri speak, conclude this for a couple of minutes, but thank you so much, Nanda, for being here. And this has been a thought-provoking, a lot of thinking for all of us, I'm sure. Madhuri, it's over to you.
Thank you, sir. So, thank you, Nanda, sir, for all the information about the leadership qualities and deep diving us there, how to be a good leaders. Thank you very much for the detailed information. Thank you all, everyone, for the commitment from 7 to 9 here. And hope that you also had a very informative session and interactive session here, so that you have earned 2 SUs attending this event. You can add these SUs to your Scrum Alliance dashboard under categories. I would request my teammate Ishwari to kindly post the link for how to earn SUs there. Thank you, Ishwari. Moving on. So we have a Premier Wednesday session again on overview of SAFe. The topic is overview of SAFe on September 22nd, 2021. That is next Wednesday. It's also a free registration. And I would request again my teammate Ishwari to kindly post the registration link on the chat, please. Yes, there you go. You can just click on the link and register for that session as well. And just a small request, please give us your valuable detailed feedback on today's session by dropping the text on your chat box. We'll just wait for a few minutes here and wait for the responses, and then we'll go on. Thank you, Suresh Grandi, for the feedback. Also, thanks, Sudhir. Thank you, one and all. Thank you everyone for those wonderful words about us. If you still want us to, give us a video testimonial, which is 1 to 2 minutes neatly recorded, one horizontally, and also you can earn a gift voucher, just a video testimonial on this session. So you can also earn a gift voucher there. And stay tuned to www.PremierAgile.com for more information about the events and upcoming schedules and whatnot. Everything is right there on our website. Or give us any information other than that you want to know, write us an email to info@PremierAgile.com, or reach us to our hotline numbers, which is 91542 Agile. Agile is 24453, or 77021 24453, which is Agile again. Thank you all for the wonderful session, cooperative session. Thank you very much, Nanda sir, for all the information. Thank you.
Suresh, I'm signing off too.
Sure,
Is
Nanda.
it okay?
Thank you so much. I'll connect with you offline.
All right. Have a good one. Good night.
All right. Thank you so much once again.
Bye.
Thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll meet in some other event very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Suresh.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Suresh.
Thank you guys. Take care.